All right. I briefly want to talk about one other aspect of so-called vaccine mandates. I've said for a while, I think it should be required to fly in the United States. Airlines governed by the Federal Department of Transportation, it should be required to be vaccinated to fly. I say this less because of the spread on airplanes, but more because it seems from the polling we have that being vaccinated, being a requirement to fly, would actually convince a lot of people to go and get vaccinated. And this is becoming more and more of a topic over the last few days. NBC News reports that Dr. Anthony Fauci would support a vaccine mandate for air travel. Now, as you may know, some airlines are requiring vaccines for workers, but have not mandated it for passengers. The nation's leading infectious disease expert, Dr. Anthony Fauci, said he would support a COVID vaccine mandate for traveling on airplanes. I would support that if you want to get on a plane and travel with other people, that you should be vaccinated, he said in a clip of an interview with the Skims podcast. The U.S. Travel Association Monday responded to Fauci's comment, saying science and studies show air travel is safe as long as face masks are worn. U.S. travel has long maintained there should be no mandatory vaccination requirements for domestic travel. This would have an unfair negative impact on families with young children not yet eligible. Well, you can always exempt young children. That's not a good argument. Let's listen to what Dr. Fauci said.
If we get the overwhelming proportion of the population vaccinated, we will get to herd immunity. If we do it in the next 6 months, it will happen in the next 6 months. If we do it in the next 2 months, it'll happen in the next 2 months. I would support that. If you want to get on a plane and travel with other people, that you should be vaccinated. When you hear us say, should you mandate?
Okay, so now they're going on to another topic. I've got to tell you, I am 100% in favor of this. And again, it's not because airplanes are the number one point of spread. It's because so many people have said $100 is not going to convince me to get vaccinated. Even my employer saying I've got to get vaccinated or test weekly, that's not going to get me to get vaccinated. But in a number of polls now, we've seen that as many as 41% of those not yet vaccinated say, if it became a requirement to get on an airplane, I would go and get vaccinated. That's why it is not about the spread on planes, but about what we can do to get people vaccinated. We also have data about people want that. Forbes article, most Americans now want vaccine mandates for planes, hotels, and restaurants, per Gallup. In the 4 months between April and August, as the Delta variant swept across the U.S., support for travel-related vaccine mandates ticked noticeably upward. More than 6 in 10 Americans now support requiring proof of full vaccination before getting on a plane, up from 57%. Support for vaccine mandates for hotel guests reached a majority status in August, notching up 9% from 44 to 53. The largest shift on vaccine mandates involves eating out. Between April and August, there was a 13% jump in support for having to show proof of vaccination status before dining in a restaurant. 53% of Americans now support it, compared to only 40% 4 months ago. And 58% now support a vaccine mandate for going to large events like concerts and festivals. This is the vaccine requirements to fly. Popular among Americans, not a reason to do something. Americans might want something that's a bad idea, but popular among Americans, and admitted to by the anti-vaxxers that if it was required to get on a plane, they would go and get themselves vaccinated, many of them, and supported by Dr. Fauci. I would like to see this. It is now known it is being considered by the Biden administration. I hope that it will be enacted soon. If you disagree with me, let me know. We'll have more coverage of this story on the David Pakman Show Instagram, which you can find at David Pakman Show.